Well, it goes way back, farther than I can remember for dang sure. My grandfather was fighting with Pancho Villa's army back in the old days, and he got wounded when he said that when he got healed up and the conflict was over, he wanted to move back toward Austin. And in 1925, he opened the first Mexican food restaurant in Austin.
Good fur gun.
The first coyote of the season gets a lot of attention from the team.
Yeah.
A little further away, it seems Matt's shooting was only off by just a hair or two.
Hey, partner, you didn't miss him much, did you?
I told you I was a hair high. Looky there.
There's the hair. You burned it right off the top of his back. Yeah, this is a game of inches, isn't it, partner?
A hair high.
Several hairs high.
Can you believe that? I knew when I pulled the trigger. I thought it was going to be real pretty.
Matt's cooked some for President Bush, and of course his dad cooked for LBJ, but he goes all over the country cooking and writing cookbooks, I think. How many books have you written now, Matt? About 4 or 5?
No, I've only got 2, Gary. I've helped in a bunch of them, and I'm working on my 3rd one right now.
They call him the patron saint of the biggest movement in ethnic cooking, Tex-Mex food. After a long history of restaurants in Austin and Dallas, Texas, Chef Matt Martinez is a legend with Southwest food.
Back in the early days, Lyndon Johnson would fly into Burstyn Air Force Base. The first stop they'd make was our restaurant before they went to the ranch. All the security guys would get there first. They'd go in every corner of the restaurant, then he'd walk in the back door. He was a big old man. He called me Little Matt. And I remember the first time I shook his hand, he had a great big old white pillowy hand. He was really good to us.
Well, when I was a little girl, this crucifix hung on my bedroom wall. And I knew that it had come from a grandmother. But more than that, I did not know. I didn't know which grandmother or anything else. Many years later, when we were living in the big house, as we called it, on Royal Crown, one morning I was reading an article in the Dallas Morning News about a explorer who was digging up sunken Spanish galleons off the coast of South America. And he showed a lot of pictures of the artifacts that he found in these sunken ships. They were 15th century Spanish ships. And one of the pictures was this crucifix. And he was from Tyler, Texas. So I called the phone company. Back in those days, you could do that. And I said, I need the phone number of this particular person in Tyler, Texas. And they said, okay, fine, here it is. I called the guy. He answered the phone. How lucky can you get?
Yeah.
And I told him what I had, and he said, that sounds like a 15th century Spanish crucifix. Why don't you take it down to SMU and have them carbon date it? Because it's wood. It's brass outside, but it's inlaid with wood. So I did. The SMU Museum of Spanish Art. And they did carbon date it, and they said, yes, it is authentic 15th century. So I called a cousin in California, my cousin Ann Sienna, who was an actress, and I said, why do I have a 15th century Spanish crucifix? And she said, because during the Inquisition in Spain, some of our family had to flee from Spain into Italy to avoid persecution because they were lesser royals. So I thought, well, that really is blue blood flowing through these veins, and I was very proud of myself. Fast forward another 10 years, and I was at a writers' conference in Austin, Texas, and I was talking to somebody about my 15th century Spanish crucifix, and they said, oh, no, that's one of the stories that Jews told their children during the Inquisition because they didn't want them to know that they were Jewish. They became conversos, that is, they became Catholic when they moved to another country or moved to another place so that they would be avoiding being burned at the stake. And my grandmother came from Naples. Her name was Maria Luisa Rodriguez. And it turns out that during the Inquisition, the King of Naples told the Jews, you can come to Naples and we will not persecute you. You'll be all right. You have to become Catholic, but you can come here and be safe. So my family apparently fled from Spain into the Kingdom of Naples during the 15th century and became Catholic.
With their saber, and that's what Claudine is going to show you how to saber a bottle of champagne. You know, so
you should not stand there, darling. Bad idea. All right, I'm going to explain this to you. People take the cage off. Some people don't take the cage off. We take the cage off. On every bottle, there are two seams, right? That's how the bottle holds together. So when you have a bottle, what you do is you feel around and you find the seam of the bottle, which of course Doptico has no seams. Okay, so you find the seam, and where the seam meets the top is the weakest part of the bottle. There is more pressure in this bottle than there is in your car tire. Do this outside, but you're never going to do it, so don't ever do it, but do it outside. Well, they can. So it's like tennis, which I don't play, so it might take me a few tries, but it's like tennis. This is a big thing, so you want to just kind of... Thank you very much. I'll be here all week. You know what? I would say first I should have tasted it. In all honesty, I should have tasted it to make sure it wasn't corked, because it's not a screw cap. I would say that I would never cook with something that I wouldn't drink. By the same token, I wouldn't cook with something that was $165 a bottle. I'll cook with something that's like $8 a bottle. But I also drink $8 a bottle wine. So.
Me too.
I know. You drink whatever we get you.
Yeah. I'm kind of a glutton. That's true. Anyway, so I want to do my own dough. I said, okay, great. So I started the show. I did the dough, rolled the show, did the tart, put it into the oven, and I said, now Julia is going to show you another dough that she wants you to do. And she said, Jacques is going to do it. Okay, so it was always like that. Anyway, so she said, yes, and I want you to do it in the food processor. That's a good idea. Okay, so take the food processor. I said, well, 2 cups of flour. Well, she said, yes. Okay, I dash her salt, dash her sugar. I said, how much butter you want? And then she said, I want Crisco. We want Crisco. President of Manolek was there. She wants Crisco. We never used Crisco once in any recipe that we ever done. I had Crisco. She had about a thing of Crisco in the base. And we did that dough, half Crisco and half butter to cheese.
Do something for someone every day.